Where am I? Oh, come on now. Video source. Really? All right, let's switch. All right, my little open didn't really do what it's supposed to do. Anyway, what's going on? Super Miguel, host of Light Full Circle Radio, and it's super producer. See, I had to skip all that. You know
I
what I mean?
have to do, do your intro. I know it threw you off. Just do your intro, and
It's
then
it,
I'm
you know, I
just
don't know what
gonna
happened with my little
pretend
intro.
I'm
So
not
anyway,
here. There, do it now.
you're here. You're here. All right, let me just go to my one shot. All right, so anyway,
Okay, there you go.
Miguel, host of Life Full Circle Radio, and so this week we got a lot to talk about. Diddy is, after all these years, his home got raided today, California and Florida. They say it has something to do with sex trafficking, so we'll find that out here real soon. So when we look at, we got Trump's indictment is going down April 15th. They're saying here the court case will begin, and so we're gonna talk about that. Candace Owens is in the news, and it's so crazy. You know, she does a couple of shows with a couple of drifters, whatever, provocateurs, and all of a sudden now people are saying, well, she's not all that bad, whatever. And so anyway, that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. Let me do my social media drop right there. Social media drops right there. Light Full Circle Radio. That's where you can find us in these internet streets. Y'all make sure y'all check us out. It's where we are live right now, so you can come check us out. But let me bring in the super producer. What's going
What's
on?
up?
So
Happy Monday,
Yeah.
and there's a lot to talk about, so we probably shouldn't waste a ton of time. Looks like we're starting with Diddy.
Yeah, we're starting with Diddy today. So with Diddy, as we look at what is going on, this is probably about 4 o'clock this afternoon. We started seeing this start
Yep.
to bubble up, and they was not playing. They
No.
ran up in Diddy's houses in both California, Florida, Miami, and Cali. They pulled out his kids. Two of his kids were which ones
Yep.
were? Because you got about seven of them.
He had 3 boys and 4 girls. So it was Justin Combs
Yeah.
and it was King Combs. People got it confused with Christian, but it was King Combs. Both of them were put in handcuffs. Now, I don't know if these 2 young men were just detained or if
Yeah.
they were actually arrested, because it showed them on the ground, detained / arrested with 2
Mhm.
other men,
Mhm.
probably younger, in their early 20s. But listen, so Combs belonged to the musician producer Sean P. Diddy Combs on Monday. The Department of Homeland Security Investigations, New York, confirmed it had executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation. The
Mhm.
agency said it acted with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and local law enforcement. HSI is the lead investigative arm of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and is responsible for investigating transnational crime threats, including human trafficking. Now, if you remember the lawsuit that was filed by Cassie and a
Yeah.
lawsuit that was filed by another gentleman a month ago, both
Mhm.
of them mentioned consistent sex trafficking, where they were taken. I think when a lot of people think of sex trafficking, they think about you being taken from Florida to Mexico or Florida to Croatia to have sex and then be brought back. That's not
Yeah.
what it means. What it means is you are taken from one destination to a completely different destination, another state, where sex acts are performed, and then you are brought back to your original state. And that's how they consider it to be sex trafficking. It goes on to say, as HSI Miami representative told CNN's Carlos Suarez, the law enforcement action was a search warrant execution. It is not clear if Combs or other residents are the target of the law enforcement actions. CNN has reached out to representatives for Combs for comment, and no comment has been made. And listen, I saw some of the footage
Right.
of the raid in Miami, and then look at your screen. I mean, it
Right.
was a full-on raid. This wasn't
No,
like
it's
some
real deal.
play.
This is some old this is some old real deal stuff. Here's the thing. One thing that you said to me made my ears go and make me want to go call one of my lawyer friends. If this is simply going from state to state, and there's a whole lot of people who can get charged with some sex trafficking. If some people get pissed off, you have yourself a party, you're a celebrity, and you got these women, you throw in these jets, you fly them around. From Miami to LA or wherever, go from the All-Star weekend, and all of a sudden they get pissed off at you. So if
Now,
that's the case,
if you're flying them from point A to point B for the
mhm,
purpose of sex, not if they happen to have sex while you're there. It's literally if they got on the plane strictly because they were being flown for sexual activity and then flown back. That's what makes it sex trafficking. So if you guys happen to find a bunch of hoes and y'all go to the All-Star weekend somewhere and then sex happens to happen, but you guys did go to the game, and you guys did go to dinner, you guys did go hang out and go to the club. That wasn't the ulterior motive. That was the motive was to go hang out.
Here's
But
my point.
if you were a lawyer in the chat, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I am probably wrong.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why I bring this up, because it's semantics now, right? If someone gets pissed off enough and they want to get some money from somebody like Diddy, yeah, he said, come jump on this jet, go hang out, let's party, and I'm gonna let you hang out with Mace and whoever else, right? Mace, don't sue me. I'm just using first name came to my mind, right? Yeah. But somebody used to work for Bad Boy, and you hanging out with Diddy, and then all of a sudden, 30 years later, 25 years later, you say, okay, well, he flew me out there, and he wanted me to have sex with one of his producers. Oh, that was sex trafficking. If that's the case, then the whole music industry is in trouble, right? Yeah. The whole entourages around these athletes are in trouble. I don't know if that's what's happened, but if that's the case, that sounds a little bit shady to me.
And to add a little bit more to the raid, so his other house, I think Diddy lives on Star Island in Miami. If people are familiar with Star Island, it's where ultra celebrities live. It is its own city. You have to go through a bridge, and you have to go through a gate and then over a bridge onto this island. You can't just get on this island. It's called Star Island for a reason. Sure. So the Homeland Security pulled up in a boat, like a boat full of guys with guns, Miami. Like they were.
It's Miami. Yeah.
It was very Miami Vice. It was very Miami Vice. We are here to get the party started. But I we just want to keep talking this through. It has now been reported that Diddy's jet, his very famous black jet, I think it's called the Love Air 3. I don't know. That's what it's I think that's what it's called. But it is a private jet. It landed in Antigua. So he was not here. He left. So whether he knew about this or not, or maybe his lawyer is saying that this would come down the pipeline, I personally think it's disgusting that you maybe possibly had an idea about this. So you left, and you left your children, regardless of how old they are, you left them in the house. There was no time to tell them, hey guys, this weekend, go to your mom's house, go to your friend's house.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sleep in the basement, lock the front door. I don't know, but just to leave them in the house.
I don't know. We can speculate to be blue in the face. King Combs and I'll be sure son. That's what I call him. That's
the wrong kid. No, you're thinking of the wrong kid.
No, there's two boys that were at the house.
Yes, Justin.
Justin Combs is. Which one is I'll be sure son?
Not Justin.
Are you sure?
Bet me money. It's not sure? Justin. Justin is the youngest. I'll be sure's son is technically the oldest, even though he's not Diddy's son. He's the oldest of all of them.
What is his name?
Oh, I forgot that boy's name. Hold on, guys.
All right. So anyway, as we walk away, bottom line is, those
Quincy.
Young men,
his name is Quincy. Duh.
Okay, Quincy. Okay.
So it's Quincy, King, Christian, and Justin. I think that those are all the boys.
So point being, this is not new. What Diddy's been going through this for the last 4 to 6 months, right?
Yes.
And so yes,
it all started with Cassie.
It all started with Cassie, and I just this stuff is crazy, man. I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just Diddy is done. I wonder now, are we at a point now where Diddy is in R. Kelly territory?
Absolutely. After today, yes. Before today, it could have gotten written off as people are trying to extort him for money. Maybe it was just one or two people. It could have gone like he's a bad person, and this shouldn't have happened. And bye, Diddy, you suck. And now we're into R. Kelly territory. Your homes have been raided. We're now putting Diddy in the same universe as the Harvey Weinsteins. He's now in that universe.
Okay.
He's in the Bill Cosby universe. He's in the R. Kelly universe.
But I don't put R. Kelly in that universe with Harvey Weinstein.
Okay, why?
And Bill Cosby. Because R. Kelly was quite obviously, without unequivocally, he was dealing with underage kids,
That's a fact.
girls.
Nope, you're right.
Right, and so when you talk about Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, you're talking about stuff that was pre-everything, video and all that stuff, and these were grown women, and these obviously were grown women that he was dealing with. Now, that's where I start and stop. Not saying they're not discussing.
You're right. You're right. We can't. R. Kelly's in a boat of his own, but we are not putting Diddy in the Bill Cosby Weinstein conversation. Can we say that?
Sure, we can say that. We can say that. I think that Here's the thing: industry people that I know have said things about Diddy for years. So none of this surprises me. The magnitude, of where it is now, and the fact that if you just brought something to my attention was, if they consider sex trafficking just going from state to state, and because you went, and then it's subjective on whether or not you went to go have, sex wherever because the person with money told you to do it. That's opening
I
up
mean,
a can of
when you
worms for a lot of folks with a lot of money. They're gonna get hit with suits like this.
well, think about Trey Songz. I feel like Trey Songz is getting to that territory of he's on that sex trafficking thing because of all of the allegations he has of taking
Hmm.
girls here and taking girls there to have sex and bring girls back. And
Let
I
me tell you, let me tell you when I tuned out Trey Songz. When I saw that video, I'm gonna tell you when I
not the
tuned
spit
out.
video.
Yes, when I saw the spit
Ugh,
video with Trey Songz, I was done with old boy. I was done
ugh.
with him. I said, nah, this youngin right here, nah. And the funny thing, Trey Songz always to me. I hear Trey Songz song, he puts me in the mind of R. Kelly. He even kind of sounds like R. Kelly a little bit in some of his songs. It's maybe because he's a contemporary for you, and you kind of, that was kind of your contemporary Trey Songz. But when I hear him, I hear R. Kelly for some reason, and maybe because he was spitting in a woman's mouth in a video that was circulating around the internet, and it looked real gross. Maybe that's what it
I've
was.
never really been a huge Trey Songz fan, but I feel like as I became a grown woman and he became a grown
Hmm.
woman, because I feel like me and Trey Songz are around the same age,
Yeah, right,
stuff just got weird. It got
right.
more because he had a story with Kiki Palmer that was
Did he?
inappropriate.
Did he?
Yes,
Okay, I'm listening
he's had a
now.
story with multiple girls. One
Yeah.
girl where he would not let her have her purse and held it over a balcony until she would perform sexual acts on him. And she admitted this on a radio podcast. She's like, it's fine. I mean, I just did it and I got my purse back. I'm like, honey, that's sexual assault. You're
But
saying
here's
it
the
like it's
thing.
not?
But here's the thing. You just connected a dot with the Diddy story, and it's just
Yep.
because I just in the '90s when I was when I was out there in them streets.
FreakNik.
We're gonna talk about Freaknik in a minute. In the '90s when I was out there and living, and I was never that wild, but the stuff that is considered sexual assault now, it was always sexual assault, obviously, but it wasn't treated that way when we were
No,
young. And so
no, it
now,
wasn't.
you're talking about things that women have to do or whatever. And here's the thing, I just don't, and I just want to be careful with how I word this, but some of these women, they were willing participants in what was going on.
Yes. There
And
are
that's the
women who
part
are
that always
absolutely
makes
willing,
me
like
hesitant about it.
the girls who got spit in the mouth. Those are willing participants. That's different. that's
That was
that's
on
different.
video, right? And they were just like, "Oh, Jay Sounds, please degrade me, please
It was gross.
disrespect me in front of my mama on the internet." It's
The internet is forever, you guys. It's
yeah,
forever.
yeah,
But
yeah.
just to wrap up the Diddy segment, Cassie's lawyer released a statement saying that we're cooperating with law enforcement. And listen, I don't know if we said this, but Homeland Security doesn't just investigate stuff because one
Mm-mm.
silly lawsuit came out. They don't just Homeland Security
No,
just doesn't jump on stuff because they heard something on social media or maybe one girl came for it. It takes a
no.
lot for Homeland Security is more serious than the FBI to me.
I just have heard it's all the
So
feds to me. It's all the feds to me. And one thing they say, the feds have a 90% conviction rate. So when the feds get involved, they've done their due diligence. They are
98.
pretty. Yeah, yeah. That's. So this is going to be crazy. All right, let's move on. Where are we going next? What do we say? Do we want? I want to say Trump for later. Let's get into.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go
What?
ahead and carry the show for the second because I have a weird delay. I'm just going to go out and come back in, but keep going. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. So yeah, man. So next up, we're gonna talk about it. For everybody, check out. We got quite a few people following us and watching us on Twitter right now, or X. So we appreciate you tuning in. My people over there on Facebook, drop us a line, let us know you're there. Kia, we'll be back here in just a second. Next up, we're gonna talk about FreakNik. That was that. I watched it over the weekend. With the wife, and it was interesting. So all right, so you're back. All right,
Yep.
so FreakNik. We're gonna talk about FreakNik now. Have you watched it yet?
I have not.
Mhm.
The reason why I have not watched it is because I have aunties and older cousins who are in that age group, and every time I bring up
Mhm.
the documentary, they make a weird face. So I'm not really sure if I'm ready for that in my life. That's why I keep like, nope, can't do it. Nope,
Well,
I'm
all right.
okay.
So here's the funny thing. So here the funny thing, Freaknik, for people who don't know exactly what we're talking about, either you're older than me or a little bit younger than me, because it's my generation, right?
What was it,
Freaknik
45
was
to 55 age group?
what age did you say? 45 to
45 to
55?
55?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say 45 because Trey's right there at the bottom end of that. And so when she saw it, she told her story and how she came down in '99 to experience it. I never came down. First of all, I was not driving 10 hours from 9-10 hours from Virginia to come down here for something I can do in Virginia Beach, which is
In
45 minutes from the
Virginia Beach,
house.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wasn't doing that. Didn't make sense to me. Um, but I've never been one for the debauchery. Yeah, I mean, when I start seeing, I'm sorry, I just been raised around nothing but women, and the more I hear about the wildness that was going on in Freaknik, the less I was inclined to say this is what I want to do. But yeah, hey, man, I know a lot of people who I have great relationships with who've been talking about Freaknik. They was waiting for it to come out. We know I interviewed my man P. Frank Williams on our show, and we're gonna get him back on here soon. Who's one of the producers? He actually directed this particular documentary. And hey, here's the thing, kid. When you watch it, here's the first thing. It was actually started. It was started by the DC Metro Club, which is the first
Yes.
thing that jumps out and says what it started as and what it ended up being are miles apart, right? So you
Yes.
got these you got these DC cats who says like me, just like I wasn't trying to come back from almost to DC down here to Atlanta. They was like, we not going all the way from Atlanta all the way back home during spring break. So we gonna have this little gathering, little picnic
It was supposed to be
over
a picnic.
supposed to be a picnic over spring break. And that's where it started. And just like anything else, when small gatherings start inviting people who don't understand the original concept of what they're coming to see, then you have what Freaknik turned out to be, which was a situation with a woman. I think her name was Stacey Lloyd, who no relation, who damn near got raped, and was on the news here in Atlanta on the local news when it happened. And so Bill Campbell, the '96 Olympics, pretty much shut that down, and so now they're trying to revive it. But
Well, I mean, and that's just one story.
yeah.
That's just one story of a woman. And I don't know if anybody remembers who's watching it. If you remember the Woodstock documentary, you never hear about the sexual assaults or the deaths
With Woodstock.
when not during well during when Woodstock was going on. Then documentaries
Mm-hmm.
come out and you realize there
Mm-hmm.
was phone call after phone call after phone call of girls who were calling the Woodstock office saying this happened to me. And the same thing with Freaknik. We do have a couple women speaking, and some women probably won't speak out.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, if they ever come out with a homecoming Kappa documentary from Fam,
Oh God.
it's not going to be good for my life. And I'm really hoping that never happens. I'm sweating just thinking about it because, I was in my 20s and I was for the mess. I was definitely for the mess. I have been in my fair share of bikini contests. I have been in my
Mm-hmm.
fair share of other types of contests. I have been in
Okay.
rooms that I had no business being in. So I get how
And
it can be fun and it can it can
it's
get dangerous and shady
and
very,
it
very
can
quickly.
it really we you have fun when you're in your 20s. There's things that you do that are unmentionable. They're supposed to be unmentioned. That's why we always joke. That's why we tell these youngins right now, y'all really think y'all wild right now. We just didn't have the internet to post every last thing that was going on with
Thank
us in the
God.
89 in the 80s and 90s, because now this is talking about freaking Black Twitter reacts to Hulu's new Freaknik. And Black Twitter has reaction. People are so funny talk about Black Twitter like it's just one entity of people with a council and all of that. There's always
It's a
some
place.
idiot who wants to take it too far.
And there's actually the documentary coming out that's actually called Black Twitter. I think that's also on Hulu. And people are not really feeling it because I think it came out by a white media company, which is already a little dicey.
Oh
Um,
God.
but interesting. My year,
Hmm.
2004, no,
Hmm.
5, is when Facebook came out and
Okay.
Facebook was allowing you to post pictures. And that I feel like was the beginning of the end because I remember my
Mm.
senior year, there was a party. It was a Kappa party. I was Miss Diamond at Florida University. I was in 2003. That's why I always have like Kappa references because I was always around them. They
Mm-hmm.
had a party, and it was a girl who got so drunk she threw up all over herself in the bathroom, was sitting on the bathroom floor, and people took pictures and they posted them on social media. That was like something they posted.
That was the beginning of the end. Yeah.
It was me, and I was one of those jerks who told everybody about this girl because she was in journalism school with me. I was like, you know, she was on the floor drunk. There's a picture of him. I told everybody. She actually confronted me. I was like, but you were on the floor drunk.
She's a reporter somewhere in Kansas right now.
I hope she got that. And again, back then, I feel like with social media, people were forgiving, but those days are done. People are no longer forgiving about pictures that get posted.
They're not forgiving about anything. So,
Nope.
you know, once it gets out there, once it gets screen grabbed and all of that, then it's a wrap. Bottom line is, folks, you know, I was, you know, my review of the FreakNik documentary is that it started off interesting, telling the original story of how it started. Of course, you know, everything with the Greek and everything. It's the college life. And then when it got to the point that, unfortunately, the rest of the South got their hands on it, even bringing in, you know, when the way Luke talked about it, and Luke basically Luke was in there, and Too Short was in it, and of course the Atlanta music scene and all of that, and it just showed how it went from being this college and I guess we call ourselves, there's a different level of debauchery we did in college than it was when you involve folks who don't know where to stop. And so
yes,
and it is what it is, man. I just found myself sitting there looking at this thing like, man, this is wild. This was really going on where, you know. So anyway, for if you want a little nostalgia, don't watch it with your kids. Because, you know, even the stuff they call themselves blurring the stuff out, it ain't that blurred out.
How do you? I was going to say, how you blur some of these girls' bodies? You not really blurring it out.
But here's the thing. Well, one of the things they did talk about was that, you know, we weren't back in them days. You know, what I mean, what was considered, you know, underdressed then is how people walk around every day now. This is not a big deal. So there wasn't a ton of video with, you know, what you see now, you know what I mean? But when it came down to it, really you know, when they showed the situation with Stacey Lloyd, that was pretty crazy. And she told the story herself, being pulled out of the car and being drugged and being scratched up and her breasts were exposed. And it was disgusting to hear her have to tell her story. But all right, let's move on.
Do you want to stick to documentaries?
What document you want to go to? What did I miss?
Quiet on Set. Quiet on Set was the big.
Go ahead.
Why are you making that noise? What's why? Tell me why you hemming and hawing, and it's the most, not I want to say popular, but one of the most watched documentaries in the past 6 months.
Here's why. Okay. Because it's not my generation. So that's why I'm gonna let you run with it. Because I watched it at your request, and I was very busy this weekend. So I watched the first episode, and it wasn't anything earth-shattering to me. But I only watched. You gotta get to the
There's 3 other episodes you have to get through. So
go ahead.
For those, everybody's probably watched it by now. It is called Quiet on Set. It is the story of the dark side of child acting. And I always make the comment, what's the light side of child acting? There is no light side of child acting. So the dark side.
There's been plenty of people successful who came out of child acting, but I digress.
Are they successful?
Sure.
Or are they just coping? Look at Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a whole other conversation. So listen. So Quiet on Set focuses on actors who were.
So what else? You're successful, but he loves cocaine. But go ahead.
And girls who are 20, 19, 18.
Oh, I don't know who he dates. I don't stay in them TMZ streets like that. But go ahead.
Focus. So this documentary is focused on Dan Schneider and all the child actors who were under Dan Schneider and all the hit shows that he made for Nickelodeon. He was a Nickelodeon golden boy and really put Nickelodeon on the map as like a powerhouse of entertainment. You know, they created Nickelodeon Awards to celebrate all the shows that were on Nickelodeon. And though the documentary, a lot of people thought it was going to be about Daniel Snyder's sexual inappropriateness with child actors, it turned out to be more about the people who were underneath him, working for him, who were for lack of a better word, child molesters and rapists. And it also talks about Dan Schneider's abuse of his female writing staff, of not so much abuse of the child actors, but overstepping his bounds with the parents, like trying to get Amanda Bynes to become emancipated from her parents. having these kids do a show that's almost like Fear Factor, having them eat live scorpions that were real, come to find out. These kids were traumatized, but thought, I want to be famous. I want to be in the show. I don't want to have Dan mad at me. So they just did it. And it was a really well done documentary because it ends with the star Drake Bell saying, I was sexually assaulted by the dialogue coach, whose name is Brian Peck. And Brian Peck only did 16 months in jail for sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy for a long period of time. Like, got 16 months in jail and then got hired by Disney. Disney claims that they didn't know that, yes, that's my mom. Disney claimed they didn't know that that Brian Peck had done all these things. They did not know, which I think is crap. You're an employer. How do you not know someone has a felony record for assault and is a registered sex offender? How do you not know that as an employer?
Oh, actually, so he was hired after he came out of jail by Disney.
After he came out of jail, he was hired.
Wow.
He was fired, but he was fired after 6 months.
Wow.
That's 6 months. That's a long time to be working at Disney. And people kept saying, well, he had no involvement in children. It doesn't matter. When you get in trouble for certain things like sexual assault and child molestation, you didn't need to be working nowhere but a mine or railroad track where you're just laying tracks and pulling up coal. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I guess I'll try to, like I said, the first episode, the only thing I was trying to remember, so the goddamn Schneider, one of the shows from my generation, Schneider is, I guess, around my age. He was on a show called Head of the Class, I think.
Head of the Class
when I was a teenager. And I recognized his face when they showed the clips. I said, oh, I remember that guy. And so I'll try to finish it. You know, having what's the girl, the singer who got the great voice, the little squeaky voice girl.
Squeaky.
Yeah,
that's not a good description.
The one who can really, okay, this is why it doesn't make sense to you. She sings, she has an amazing voice, but her character on one of the Disney and Nickelodeon shows, she talk real high like that. What is her name?
Michelle A?
No, she's the Italian girl. Who can sing, the little itty bitty little girl with the big voice. Ariana Grande.
Why didn't you just say the white girl who's a homewrecker? I would have gotten it right away.
Because I don't know she's a homewrecker. I'm not in them TMZ streets like that. All right. Anyway, so we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. All right. I want to get into this conversation about Candace Owens.
Okay.
Candace Owens, for those who do not know who Candace Owens is this provocateur who has made her money as a black woman, basically in these streets, basically trashing black people. And so, but now she's gotten fired by her employer, and now people are back in the streets, and now they're sympathizing with this girl. I want to find that video. Did I send that God is Good video to you? I think I did.
You did, and she looks so stupid, but so cute at the same time, because she really didn't know what to say. She's like, God is good, amen. I was like, oh, that's not what the response is.
So Candace Owens, who's been a grifter. I don't have it queued up. So I think I sent it to you by text. But anyway, so she has but she's gotten fired, and so now all of a sudden she's making these rounds. And the first two shows she went to were Joe Budden and The Breakfast Club, because now she no longer has an employer. Now all of a sudden she needs to go out here and be in these streets and try to reconnect with her black folk. And so this is one of the first things she talked about on her interview with The Breakfast Club about why she marrying a white man and all of that. And so this was her piece on that clip from that show.
No audio. There we go.
Okay. I would love to talk to him more about that.
Let's do that again. Okay. All right.
Okay.
You're speaking a lot about, the black family, but then you married a white man.
Yeah,
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Okay. I would love to talk to him more about that, because, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of black people who will make an argument that, the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying. I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. It's just very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, you know, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go all the time. It's difficult for me to find. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me. You know, the challenge that I needed, whether you want to say like an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book. People tend to marry their IQ, which is interesting. You think like if you see two black people together, oh, it's because they are two black people, but actually they are probably better matched based on their IQ. You know, I fell in love with my husband just because I think he is one of the most brilliant people.
That whole clip, she's annoying me already. First thing that I have an issue with this is that for her to make the comparison that all of a sudden people want interracial people not to marry, it's a bunch of garbage. This is the story of Loving versus Virginia. For people who may not know, this was the story of the Supreme Court case which made it illegal to forbid people of different races to marry. And so, Supreme Court case. This was in I don't remember what it is, 1950s, I believe, late 1950s, I believe it is, or early 1960s. Point being is that once again that was a baited comment for her to sit up here and say, well, people just don't want white people and black people to marry. It's a bunch of garbage. Half the NBA are products of interracial marriage. You know, it is what it is. People love who they love. Like, get that garbage up out of here.
I mean, I guess I took it differently. I guess what she's saying is people are complaining about it and making it seem so bad, like it should not happen when a white man or some biracial people of different races get together. It's almost like you want this to be overturned. That's how I took it. And again, that's interpretation from two different people's perspectives of what she was saying. Because when black men, famous black men, marry white women, it's supposed to be a normal thing. When black women marry white men, it's all of a sudden like this. Can you believe she did that? Of course, Candace Owens married a white man. That's the only thing that makes sense for her. And it's just like,
well,
and you know that's the truth. It's a different standard for black women when they marry white men.
I don't agree. And then how she ended up, she wrapped up her comments talking about people don't marry their race, they marry their IQ. So what, you couldn't find a black man that had a similar IQ? Like, she has to be careful with this, the way that she's positioning this stuff, right? Because she's now, here's the thing, guys. Here's the marketing hat being put on. She's now trying to connect with this conservative black audience that are not Trumpsters, and they're trying to get more middle of the road. I've been following.
She's trying to get me. She's trying to get me.
It's exactly. And so Candace is saying, okay, she got fired by this Kirk guy who is a tremendous right winger, Charlie Kirk, and so he got fired from his platform. She's been positioning herself for a while.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm going along with you. She didn't get fired by Charlie Kirk. She got fired by Ben Shapiro in the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is the other Jewish jerk. White. Yeah, he's the other jerk. Yeah. And she got fired from the Daily Wire for her anti-Semitic views. Now, I read some of her views. Her views weren't anti-Semitic. They were critical of Israel. And I think that's where a lot of people get annoyed with being called anti-Semitic, because you're critical of Israel. She basically said, at this point, it is no longer about the hostages. You all, the Jewish, Israel is just killing people, anybody. And people are starving. You cannot say this is not a genocide. They're claiming that is anti-Semitic. And I'm sorry, that's not anti-Semitic. She didn't say Jewish people are evil and they're taking over the world. She said, this is a genocide. How that's a whole different conversation, but that's not
and there's I don't see a lie there, right? There's always truth. But here's the thing that also has kind of got me bugging right now, because people are now saying, oh, well, Candace Owens is not that bad. I'm like, whoa. Y'all not just gonna let her go do a couple of interviews and all of a sudden we're gonna act like the last 10 years of her public life is not what it is, right? So Baller Alert, and you say you saw it somewhere. So Baller Alert did a great job of pulling this thing together, right? Which is some of Candace Owens' most controversial moments in her public life. So here's a tweet straight from her. Juneteenth is still ghetto and made up. Hope everyone enjoys it, okay? Here is some audio from her.
Our boyfriends move drugs, which is what Breonna Taylor was actually doing, okay? Trailing her, that her name was on the warrant when they showed up at her place. It was not the wrong address. Everything the media told you was a lie. The police officers had every right to be at her property. They had been monitoring that property for weeks. They had a poll camera.
I'll drop this. I'll drop this link so you guys can dig into that clip's a little bit longer. White Lives Matter. White Lives Matter shirt. People say, well, you know, White Lives Matter. We know why that was not about White Lives Matter, and that's to be provocative and is a spit in the face of Black Lives Matter.
The redheads get something, right? You know, they're the true minority that nobody talks about. Ariel, who had beautiful, long red hair, and it was actually one of my favorite movies. I was a big Disney child, Disney baby.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
So you can see why the left loved that clip and why they're now calling Charlie Kirk, who I worked for and with for years, an avowed racist. He says that that's going to be his first thought if he sees a black pilot. And you know what? I said the exact same thing on this show just a couple of weeks ago. I remarked that now when I even am watching a commercial, if I see a commercial and I see a black person, a Hispanic person, an Asian person, my thought process is, did they just get this because DEI? I no longer think.
So here's some more stuff. And then
loudest you guys voice. The actually worst thing to be in this society, if one thing I would not want to be, is a straight white male. For some reason, that's considered problematic, right? You have to be something. It's like people lie. They're lying on college applications. They're like, okay, I'm white, but I'm also trans. And you're like, what? Why are you pretending? Because, oh, I don't want people to think I'm too normal, right? And people, you know, they're just trying to find something that makes them not white, right? And it's really staggering to think that once upon a time, that is exactly what the experience was for a black American, that being a black American was so problematic that you weren't going to.
So this is who people are now saying she's not that bad because she did one little interview with the Breakfast Club, and then
she's still that bad. She's never going to get the knees of the world.
Black people, stop falling for the banana in the tail of pipe, man. This stuff is all out of the internet for you to do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Don't take other people who've actually been paying attention word for it. Go look for yourself. AI didn't create those clips we just showed. No. That is Candace Owens. Right?
Yes.
And so now all of a sudden she done lost a little job, and all of a sudden now she want to go raise some money. And who's she going to? She already got, the white folks that she want to have. Now she want to go back and find the middle of the road folks, like Kia, to say, well, okay, she's not that bad. And not saying Kia knows that she's that bad, but there's people who are conservatives or who hate the Democrats or hate liberalism and all of this stuff, trying to say, oh yeah, but she's one of the ones that I'm going to follow. Follow her to the depths of hell if you want, but Candace Owens ain't it.
So listen, Candace Owens is the equivalent of a girl who is trying to make it in this day and age and decides to get an OnlyFans. She just found a way to become an influencer while keeping her clothes on. That's it. Some of the stuff that Candace Owens says, I don't really think she believes it. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's hard for her to get true black conservatives like myself or, middle of the road people. It's really hard for them to get her because some of the things she said, it's just outlandish. A lot of it is it just sounds stupid. Like the pilot conversation with Charlie Kirk saying that, oh, now I look at a black pilot, I don't know if it's qualified. To fly a plane, you dum-dum. What you think they just because you're black,
you think you're black. Those keys out, you know what I mean? Like you think they don't have to fly a certain amount of hours to qualify to be a pilot, and for her to come out. But no,
what they're saying is that they lowered the bar for black pilots. No, they don't. They don't lower the bar for any of us. The bar is the bar for when it comes to certain things. It's just the bar. It's like the actual bar exam. You may be able to get into law school or whatever affirmative action, but you still have to pass the bar exam, which is the same for everybody. You still have to pass your medical state boards. Like there's levels that cannot be lowered just because. Right. Her comments about
Go ahead.
Her comments about Breonna Taylor, I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds like some right-wing crap that she read, but it always seems like she is going the Ariel Little Mermaid comment was weird.
She probably thought that was funny. She thought
and
it was
unnecessary.
Funny and cute. Yeah. She thought it was funny and cute. And so you think DE&I is not necessary. You think DEI is not necessary. The state of Alabama just passed law that DE&I is stripped out of all these schools. Now Alabama, with the University of Alabama, won all these national football championships with all this black talent. All the way, you got places like Montgomery, which is an engineering capital. You got NASA and all these big time, because people just think Alabama is just a little country hick state. It's not. In the city of Montgomery, the cities of Birmingham, there's a lot of science, a lot of engineering work that's going on in those areas. And
Huntsville.
Funny thing, Huntsville, Alabama, exactly. W. Kamau Bell, Alabama Governor Meemaw strikes again. These folks are scratching, pulling, and clawing and trying to keep the progression from happening. And they're not playing with it right now. And for Candace Owens, here's the thing about Candace Owens. Candace Owens gets away with this stuff because you can see, I can see Candace Owens in a sorority sweater, a black sorority sweater. I can see Candace Owens, at the cookout as one of the cousins is sitting there in the room. I can see her as a bougie auntie. She doesn't look like a lot of, pardon you, which you don't either. There's a certain look of black conservatives a lot of times that it stands out, especially with the men. They look real cheesy. They talk funny. It's just a certain look that people.
A lot of plaid.
A lot of plaid, a lot of trying to fit in. It's a lot of assimilation. It's a lot of assimilation. And Candace with her flat ironed hair, and Candace is not a bad. Candace is a cute girl. She's a nice looking. Woman.
She's a nice looking woman.
Right, and so there's nothing about her that says that she shouldn't love black people. Whatever. I ain't getting into foreheads. A lot of y'all got
just those close-ups of her where she was leaning into the camera. I was like, whoa, look at that head.
Right.
That's a large head. But she looks
easy.
like what you're saying. She looks like one of us. She looks like one of us.
She looks like one of us, and she obviously is not. But it's an easy pivot for her to turn right back around and say, I'm one of you guys. Come on now. Accept me back into the party. But when it's all said and done, here's your nail in the coffin, Miss Candace Owens. You go on the air with Jess Hilarious, and she didn't put you to the test.
Oh.
God is good. God is good. Amen.
No. No.
I thought you were going to say God is great. Thank you for the 48.
God is great.
No.
God, all right,
Y'all not gonna give it answers?
I'm going to do you, Charlamagne.
Yes.
Charlamagne, God is good.
All the time.
And all the time?
God is good.
That's right. Where's that from?
Jesus
Christ, Candace.
It's church. God is good all the time.
But why do you say all the time back? Where's that from?
Black church. God is good all the time.
Church. Oh. Everybody said it.
Okay.
What black people
That's
don't
the first
understand
time Candace ever looked. She looked genuinely confused. Like it wasn't like she's playing with it,
she
or
wasn't,
she looked.
No, she was lost.
Where is that from?
She was lost.
What?
Like I don't care how conservative you are. Black people just got call and response in our DNA. It don't. You go to them and tell them you don't understand call and response. So Candace Owens, man, y'all can.
It's almost like she's never heard. She's never heard a pastor say, "Turn to your neighbor," because that's what it is. Turn to your neighbor. Say, neighbor. What have you been dealing with this week? What have you been dealing? That's what it is.
It's simple call and response. I'm like I don't know, man. I just look. It doesn't make sense to me. Growing up in the AME church, growing up around black people my whole life, for you not to understand something as simple as she was genuinely confused. Like, God is good all the time. And what did she say? God is great, or whatever she said.
She said, God is great, amen. And then it's just the confusion on her face.
She had a look on her face like, did I pass the test? Did I pass it? No, Candace, you did not.
And I just think it was kind of cute. She's like, well, where is it from? From black church. What do you mean from black church? So you ain't got no mama, daddy, grandparent. Nobody ever took you to a black church. I grew up in a white church. Shout out to Lake McGorry. Then I went to my dad's church that was blackity black. And I learned a lot of stuff that I had missed out on all my life. It was awesome.
Right. All right, let's go. Let's get into our Hunt What for the week, because we got to get that in before we get up out of here, because I know you have some stuff on your mind.
What I talked to intern Alexis about.
What is going on with my little cameras today? My little video sources ain't popping up on my scenes. What is the deal? I know you can still hear me, but you can't see me.
I can still hear you. Okay.
All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
Is this the right week? What's today's date?
Today is the 25th.
I'm on the wrong week. Hold on.
Girl.
There we go. I was in the wrong week. There we go.
All right.
Carlee Russell. Yes, Carlee Russell. The girl who saw a baby running on the highway and then was missing. Was she even missing for 2 days, or was she missing for like a week? I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, this heifer only got 12 months probation. And let me tell you, Black America, I never want to hear, but the white people didn't. They got this. And, black people always get the hardest sentence. there are 3 white women who committed the same act that Carlee Russell did. They're all doing federal prison time. And Carlee Russell is getting away with 12 months probation.
Absolve them of all that, but this is ridiculous. She got 16 months for Carlee Russell pleads guilty, avoid jail time at false. She got probation. She's not even going to jail.
No. She got probation. That is a slap on the wrist for you wasting hours of police time, effort, energy of people searching, not only for you, but for this magical baby that was running on the interstate doing the 500-yard dash.
That thing never sat right. But to remind people, this was a situation, I think it was in Alabama. Was it in Alabama?
Yes.
It was somewhere down south.
It doesn't matter. It was in the land of Narnia, where you drive on a highway
and there's a baby roaming that nobody else stops and no one else is concerned. This baby just disappeared into the ether, and then all of a sudden, Then they find
now
her.
You scream
they find her like
and
in a convenience store or something somewhere.
No, she walked home.
Yeah.
She walked home and knocked on the door. Come to find out, she was mad about the breakup. Wanted her boyfriend to come back to her. The baby never existed. They found out she was lying. They have her on video at Target getting Cheez-Its. It was just the dumbest story. I think off this GP, she should have done time just for the dumb story. At least the white lady
in restitution, sentenced to 12 months of supervised probation, community service. Imagine you do community service with her. Like, girl,
get my face. Sherry Papini, the white woman in California who did this but worse. She didn't, have a magical baby, but she said that she was gone for a month and was kidnapped. Said Hispanic women did it, wasted not millions, but thousands upon thousands of dollars. They gave her 12 months in prison, federal prison, because the feds were like, no, what you're not going to do is play in our faces. So you're going to jail. Like, you're absolutely going to jail. Another young woman who lied to her parents about graduating from college. Come to find out she had gotten kicked out of college, who lied about being kidnapped. She did 8 months in jail. Like, there's another mom who said that her kids were missing. She got a year in jail. And Carlee Russell gets 12 months.
There's 3, and then there's the 80s. Where black people was going to jail for 5 times what white people was going to jail for the same amount of cocaine.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about right now?
Because you talking about white folks getting sentences that black people ain't getting, and I present to you evidence, Exhibit A, the 1980s crack epidemic. Let's move on. What else you got?
Well, this really isn't a what, but it's down here because I think it got messed up. But Kate Middleton, this is not.
No, we're not doing that on the what. We are not doing that on the what.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, we do that after what.
What else is on here? That's what. This didn't get updated properly.
All right. Well, we're moving on. That was what for this week. Dun, 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 dun. All right.
Sorry, guys.
Kate Middleton. I don't have well, I think I can pull it up. I think it's on our sheet. Kate Middleton, who you were concerned about because they were sending out body doubles and all this stuff you were saying, and come to find out the woman is battling cancer. That was me queuing
I feel bad about her having cancer. I don't feel bad with people who I'm not sure why people are apologizing about this because this wasn't people's fault. Listen,
on a low page. Go ahead.
This wouldn't have been a big deal if they just would have come out and said, she's still recovering, guys. She's getting better on the pretty header from, Her Royal Highness. It would have been fine. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Instead, they put out that horribly photoshopped picture that didn't need to get released. And then that made people dig in more. Then you send out a body double, which makes people more confused. Now people are speculating. Now there's conspiracy theories coming out. Now the royal people are rolling out a whole mistress. Like, that's better. None of it was just simply Kate's recovering from abdominal surgery. She's just taking longer to recover, but she's fine. They could have had that girl walk out on a step and wave a few times, and people would have been fine with that. Instead, they did all these mental gymnastics, and now people are apologizing. If I was a celebrity who says, I'm not apologizing for a damn thing. I'm sorry you have cancer. I'm sorry for your children. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sorry about making jokes, seeing how what the royal people and news people were doing about this. It was insane. And her announcement was also weird. One, it was on a fake backdrop. That was bizarre. Fine. And her husband wasn't with you. Who makes an announcement that they have cancer and their spouse is not sitting next to them?
These are different set of royals in this day and age because these people don't really want to be hanging around with these fake royals anyway. These people ain't got nothing but money. They don't have no power. They ain't king of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
And they're blaming Meghan. They're like, oh, see, Meghan.
What Meghan have to do with it?
Exactly. But they're still saying, I cannot believe that Kate announced she had cancer and Megan went to a press event. You mean a press event that was already planned and she didn't know nothing about this girl having cancer? Even though everybody from Kate Middleton's side is outside embarrassing her. Her uncle is on Big Brother. Her sister's in the south of France hanging out having a good time.
Her uncle's on Big Brother.
Big Brother UK. He got evicted, but he was on Big Brother UK. But yeah, they're saying horrible things about Megan, saying that she's not a good sister-in-law. And let me tell you something about sister-in-laws. Sister-in-laws.
I feel like is it going in a good direction or bad direction? Go ahead.
It's going in a normal direction. Sister-in-laws are friends that you never asked for. So like, they're friends that you never asked for. You have to get along with them.
Yeah.
You gotta value what they have to say.
Right.
Because they're married to your siblings. So that's just how it is. You don't have to like them every day. So them acting like Megan needs to bow down to Kate and be thankful has always been weird to me. But that's my Kate Middleton story. I'm still looking for more How What stuff.
Yeah. So I was looking at what was trending, trying to see what else is out here trending. This trending stuff, it moves so fast.
It's all Diddy. It's all Diddy now.
Russell Simmons, the little memes around Russell Simmons and what he looks like when who been hiding over in he over in Asia
Bali.
somewhere.
He's hiding in Bali.
So there's a whole lot of that going on with people clowning on these internet streets. Russell Simmons, when Diddy shows up in Indonesia trying to hide in his hiding spot. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. There's nothing really what that's really out there. Everything is all serious. It's all Diddy. Everything is Diddy, and I mean everything. Bishop Lamar Whitehead going to jail, but that's old news. Bye Gucci preacher.
Yeah, Bishop. So for remind people, that's the dude that was in New York who was the preacher who had like 9 people in his church, and he had some old lady give him all his money. I think that
a full Gucci suit.
Yeah, in a full Gucci suit. Yeah. Diddy pulling up at Russell Simmons and fleeing the country in the Caribbean. Boy, folks, I tell you, this is the reason why comedians are struggling in this day and age. Boy, it is too many funny people out here in these internet streets. My goodness, they out this joint with the smoke. Oh my goodness.
Oh, here's a funny thing: the door from Titanic that Rose laid on, it went to auction for $718,000. Somebody bought that door.
So what you gonna do with that door? What are you gonna do with that door?
Why that's so funny? Because it's a valid question. You hang it up, right?
Not doing Black History Month, Don.
I mean, you hang it up, don't you?
Yeah. Oh God. All right.
Ooh, some people are saying Jay-Z is next to have women come out about him.
We said this early in the show. If what you described is considered sexual assault, this is just the beginning. There's going to be a ton of people who are going to be out here talking about especially as easy as Cassie got paid. There's going to be.
But we don't know. Wait. Let's just talk about that for a second as we wrap up the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like Cassie did this for the money. I feel like Cassie did this because she needed to make it part of a public record, and this was the only way to go about doing it. She could have sued that man for $50,000, but it makes all the paperwork a legitimate public record since it's part of a court proceeding. If she just did an interview, let's say she just did an interview with Vogue. Do you think anybody would care if she did an interview with Vogue about this?
About what? So
about her experience.
Finish. Here's my thought on Cassie. And this is the part, knowing the business side of it. I think it's really treacherous that record company people will sign people to 5 and 10 album deals back in the day. So basically, you sign somebody to a 10 album deal, you're signing them for their entire career. Like nobody, like how many Michael Jackson did 4 or 5 albums, original albums, like total. So you sign somebody to a 10 album deal, which my understanding, Cassie had a 10 album deal with Diddy. She sued him immediately. She was released from a record. She can go do her own thing, and she can live her life. I believe when you say it wasn't about money, I believe it was about money. Now, the fact that Diddy is or probably is a creep, that's just the way that the tactics you use to get out of that situation. But there's so many just just terrible people in the music industry. So when it's all said and done, if this is what they're considering sex trafficking, it's about to get ugly. And I'm telling you, I've been saying this for the last few months. They are really riding what they think is the ship right now, and they're trying to take away all the celebrity of all of these black people. I believe that's part of it. I think that's part of the issue. You can say what you want to say. I'm telling you, the music industry has been pushing this garbage for the last 6 or 7 years, really, really pushing just terrible music, terrible lifestyles, and primarily most of the time the face of that lifestyle is someone black or Hispanic. And now they're getting to the point now they're pushing country music back up to the top. They're having this renaissance of old rock music and that's fine. But that means that some of these people like Diddy, like you said, I don't think they'll get Jay-Z. Jay-Z too deep in the sauce. With Beyonce, I don't think he'll get them. But the Diddy's of the world, you know, some of these other cats who probably been living these wild lifestyles, it's going to be. I hope this.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So would that mean people like Sexy Red are a plant to push that narrative?
Look at Sexy Red.
No, she looks dirty. I'm not a fan. And and she always gets mad. You only think I look dirty because I'm dark skinned. That is not why we think that. That's really not. It's not because Kelly Rowland is dark skinned and she looks pristine.
Right.
So
it's a lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle. If you think about through the 80s and the 90s, you think about Whitney Houston.
Yes.
You think about Janet. You think about
MC Lyte.
You think about MC. If you just think about not only the men, not only the women, but let's just stay with the women, the men and the men. Let's stay with the women, the Toni Braxtons. Like I can't be the only person in the world who the way that they created the image of Toni Braxton that I'm surprised that she's with Birdman now. Because of the image that was created that just made us believe that she was like a Barbie doll. Same thing they did with Whitney. Same thing they did with Mariah Carey. Yes. Same thing they did with Kelly Rowland. Same thing they did with early Destiny's Child.
It's almost like there was an assembly line where you came out the hood and they were like, no, this is fine, but we have to tweak this, pull this, tweak this, tuck this, hide this, and then you're off to go.
Monica. Here in Atlanta, people say Monica is a roughneck. Right.
Gunica.
Right. That's her nickname. It's Gunica in these streets. Like she'll slap you up in a minute. But they made her out to be such a Barbie doll. That whole imagery now, like who is coming out right now? If you think about the biggest names in black music right now, if you run them down, you've got Meg Thee Stallion, you got Lotto, you got Sexy Red, you've got
Glorilla, Scarface, Flo Milli. What? Why? I don't know any of these songs either. I just know these girls' names because I have social media and everything.
If you look on the R&B side, like it's so funny because I had this conversation with Saran, my oldest, and I talked about what's the cute girl who always wears shades all the time? Her. Yeah.
Squeak.
Squeak
from Color Purple.
But I like her because she feels like an artist that would have flourished in the 90s, right? She just musically, she's very talented. Most songs that come out of her, I really like the rhythm and the vibe and even her persona. Like she never comes out as like she's over sexualized. And even Saran was kind of like, she's all right. And I was like, wow. To me, she's one of the best coming out of this generation. Right.
But then you look at SZA. SZA's considered the most amazing thing, and she's getting more sexualized every time I get on social media. She's shaking ass somewhere, and I'm like, well, this is not how you started out.
Right.
What's happening?
Because that's the attention that is being pushed in this industry. It's really that level of being, because you can't get the attention. It's such an attention economy right now. Everything has got to be about who's going to get the eyeballs on you. And it's like, I just look at it like the young lady, what's her name? The water girl. The girl, it's a water. Tyler. She just dropped a new album. And nothing is wrong.
Oh, and you heard with her, she dropped a new album, also planned a world tour. World tour got canceled when they realized there was no tickets being sold to it.
For Tyler?
And it was like, I have back problems.
Her name right? Is it Tyler? Am I pronouncing her name right? Tyler?
Water Girl.
Okay.
Water
Girl. Whose concert got canceled? It was her, right? Is that what you're saying?
Tyler's.
Okay.
Kyla's concert got her world tour got canceled because tickets weren't selling. But tickets weren't selling because, I mean, you have a debut album. Who's really begging to come see you sing one GD song? And the same thing's happening to Jennifer Lopez. She had a world tour too. They canceling shows for that left, right, and sideways.
You know, and that's a whole nother conversation when we talk about what's going on in the industry right now. You know, people in the industry are basically telling you music is just marketing now. They're giving it away. You know, I ain't bought an album in God knows how long. I subscribe to Apple Music or I subscribe to Spotify and you listen to whatever you want to listen to. But I'll go out there and go spend $200, $300 on a concert ticket for somebody who I want to see. And that's how they're making their money now. Concert tickets, merch, and all this type of stuff. And they found out it was a big complaint last summer when there was so much success all last year with hip hop in the 50th tours and everybody was on tour and they was all selling out. But in these recent artists like the Baby had to cancel shows because nobody was going. These cats are not trying to do what we did, which is go sit down at a concert for 2-3 hours and listen to an artist because their songs are not even full songs. It ain't nothing but a hook. I can't imagine going to a concert with an artist who has nothing but a hook. A 30-second hook, and what else are you going to do besides that?
They had Summer Walker performing at Jazz in the Gardens. I don't know if you're familiar with Jazz in the Gardens. Jazz in the Gardens is the premier Black show for people my age and up.
Yeah.
And when I saw Summer Walker on there, I was like, this has gone into a place that I'm never gonna go because that's not what Jazz in the Gardens. My first Jazz in the Gardens was Erykah Badu live, and she puts on a show. But it's 9:03. Y'all know how this go.
You know what's so funny that you say that because, and I will leave it with this. I saw Erykah Badu on a commercial for some electronics or something that was there. And I said, Erykah Badu's been in the game now almost 30 years. She's 25, right around, she was mid 90s, 95, 96, 97. So she's pushing 25 plus years. And Erykah Badu is probably as hot now as she was 25. Where are you? Are you still there? Are you gone? Let me go to about one shot. Where are you at? You still there? You know what? I'm done with you, girl. Bye.